This is Josh here at Cody Cove Farm. Now typically in these videos we like to look at edible plants and that's our main focus. But today we're looking at a flower. And I just love this plant and I think it should be much more widely planted. Honestly, I've hardly ever seen this outside of the Bok Tower Botanical Garden. I started growing this flower probably 10 years ago, and it's proven to be a very hardy, easy to grow species in Central Florida. It can freeze to the ground, but it comes back. So this is kind of related to the more popular Mexican sunflower, but it's a little less rampant and crazy. It doesn't lay over and root on the ground. It's less vigorous, but it's still a very hardy, vigorous plant. So first of all, the big thing about this plant is these incredible blooms. In the late fall, winter, maybe even early spring, I don't quite remember, but when the days are short, it does these waves of these daisies. They're beautiful, they're striking from a distance. They are great for attracting all kinds of butterflies and bees. Sometimes you can count many species of beneficial insects hovering over the plant at one moment. They smell like chocolate chip cookies. They truly do smell like cookies. It's incredible. And sometimes when they're really fragrant, you can smell it from a few feet away. Unfortunately, they don't hold up too well in a vase, but for a few hours you can have nice daisies that smell like cookies in a vase. But also, this is a plant that is probably useful in some of the same ways that Mexican sunflower is. That's Tithonia. This is Montanoa grandiflora. So they're in different genera, but presumably this has many of the same abilities to accumulate lots of nutrition in its foliage and stems, which you can slash and use as a mulch. Also, we used to passively feed this to goats, and I haven't read anything about its safety and long-term, viability as an animal forage, but the goats would eat this with no apparent problems. So I can't encourage you to plant a ton of it for that reason, but I would say we've proved it can be used as a forage species to some degree. But anyway, this is just a beautiful, easy to grow perennial, very easily propagated from stems. So if you get a plant from us, in a few months you'll be able to propagate your own quite easily. And it kind of is blooming at a time of year when there's not necessarily a ton of bloom around. And from a distance, you just have this big, incredible show of these white daisies. So this one is maybe 8 feet tall. They can actually, in good soils, they can grow really rampantly and tall, maybe even as much as 12 or 15 feet tall. But they easily tolerate pruning right to the ground level. As I mentioned, they can freeze to the ground and come back. Our older plants have seen probably 20 degrees Fahrenheit and have resprouted from the ground with no problem from that cold. I don't know how far north this can really go in Florida. Anyway, this is tree daisy, Montanoa grandiflora. Check it out. I think many people will want to have this in their home garden.